Hello, good evening, and welcome to Going for Two, the only YouTube podcast in human recorded history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the important topics of the day, as long as they touch the football world and not in that way. Tonight, we'll talk about the National Football League as we get into bye week season, Des Bryant, which teams are toast, hint, Titans, and fantasy. How are you doing, Sharona?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Okay, do you have your dragon's milk prepared?
I do not. I am drinking tonight's beer of choice is a local brew, Atom Bomb by Blackstone.
Okay, I've had some of their stuff. What style is that?
This is an ale.
It's
It
a
is.
beer.
It's got the IBU is pretty high. It's an 83 IBU.
Sounds bitter.
7.2 alcohol by volume.
So not as much as the bourbon stuff you were drinking.
Not as much as the dragon's milk. I finally actually looked at the label on it and was like, holy crap.
Yeah, I bet it's pretty high.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough to get on your level, so we'll do what we can. So do you want to hear about the exciting Athens experience I had last weekend?
Yes, I do.
So I decided to join the Missouri alumni group to take a bus from Atlanta, Georgia to Athens, which is about an hour away, but not according to our bus driver, who was not very good at figuring out how to get there. I think he printed out something from MapQuest, and got lost in a neighborhood that was not good. But so you can imagine if you're in a bus, and by the way, I got upgraded from bus B to bus A because that was the drinking bus.
Oh.
So that was good. So I was hanging out with a bunch of people in like TV and stuff because journalism school, university, baby. And there were vodka-soaked gummy bears. I tried to be good and bring my Goza beer, which has a little bit of a lower alcohol content. So yeah, we drove our way to Athens, and then about half the crowd left for the official Missouri alumni event, and I said, I'm going to Trapeze Pub in Athens because that has one of the best beer selections I've ever seen. So I was there for about 2 hours before the game, just rolling through their beer selection. It was quite nice.
How many beers did you have?
I think I got to double digits there by the end of the day, so that was good. Because I went there, they had a bunch of like Belgian beers, and they had the Delirium Red, which was like a cherry beer, and man, it was so good.
Wow.
And in the front of their bar, they don't have
a pretty
TVs.
beer that's right up your alley.
Yeah, I know. It's such a... And here I am with my wine tonight with my pinky hanging out,
Oh, okay.
I had pizza, so, I don't know. It seemed right.
I almost had a glass of wine instead, but I was like, Zach drinks beer. This is my night to drink beer with Zach.
Yes, I guess we have to work on our drinking communication, but... So I got to the stadium, and I had a ticket in the 600 section because based on how much money you give to the university is where you sit, and I had given nothing to the university since I graduated. So I was about 2 rows from the moon. We're actually higher up than where they shoot the fireworks from. So I was in 600, and the Titans Stadium doesn't even go to 300, and I've never been upstairs there. So there were a lot of stairs to go up. And I got up there, and first play of the game, Missouri intercepts the ball and gets down to the 1. And as soon as the guy caught the pass, I'm like, he has to score a touchdown, or the offense is not going to do it. And not surprising, the just installed 3 years ago from center play from Missouri fumbles the snap, kick a field goal, and it turns into a punt fest. Second week in a row, but at least this week the Missouri defense was up. I felt so bad for them because Georgia would drive like 30 yards every time, and Missouri would do nothing. Like, they had 6 first downs the entire game. It was pretty bad.
Who ended up winning that game?
Not Missouri.
Ah.
Well, the only good drive they had all game is they got the ball at the 10 and near the end of the first half, and I thought, well, they're going to go 3 and out. Georgia's going to get the ball. And they actually drove all the way down the field and kicked the field goal and made it 6-0. But Georgia kicked a field goal, and then they kicked another field goal, and then they missed a field goal, and then they finally made one with 3 minutes to go. And 9-6, the second Missouri game this year that finished 9-6. Missouri's offense is really bad, but we already knew that. And So this week, Missouri is playing Vanderbilt, and that has the lowest over-under of any college football game this year, 34, which is pretty high, because Vandy just lost to the depleted South Carolina team. So, yeah, we'll see. But what else has happened here? So we have a Vanderbilt game. Will we have a Sharona sighting?
I don't know. I thought Zach and Sharona were going to go to the game and hang out and drink beer and whatever, but no.
What, just because we had other friends? We can hang? Of course we can hang. Just get in the stadium. We'll go. We'll find a spot. We'll look on your face. See, my dad's going with his friend who's a season ticket holder, so the two of them could easily hang out. So there you go. Boom. Done. Yeah, I mean, a Vanderbilt ticket. I mean, so this weekend in Nashville, here's my plan. I'm driving up to Nashville on Saturday, going to the Vanderbilt Missouri game, which starts at 3. Then I'm going to the Penguins Predators hockey game. It starts at 7. And the following day, I have the misfortune to attend the Titans Falcons game, which would put the odds of me leaving early pretty darn high, because I'm driving home that day. The Sunday also happens to be a wedding anniversary of mine, so yeah, sacrificing a little bit for football. That's right. But I was thinking, I was imagining, because the Cubs are in the playoffs. I'm like, is Sharona going to be like Steve Bartman? Is she going to have like the big headphones in her ears during the game, listening to Tennessee, Alabama, and like a football's going to hit her in the face or something?
I totally probably will if I go.
Well, that's going to be like a good game.
Yeah. And I would totally rock my Tennessee orange, even though they're not playing.
Well, if you're going to pick an SEC stadium to show up at and just wear whatever, that's definitely Nashville and Vanderbilt. That's the stadium you go to if you're the road fan, because you basically can outnumber the home team. There's that puppy. I was hearing that puppy before.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
She's trying to make up with me because she's been in trouble most of today.
Why? What's happening?
She's not adjusting to the kittens all that well.
You don't say. Well, I mean, did you, consult with her first? Hey, by the way, I'm bringing these kittens in. What do you think? She's like, I don't know about that. I've heard some things about dander. And wow, that sounds dangerous. That sound.
No, that's her way of letting. She doesn't have social skills. That's her way of letting you know that she likes it.
Oh, okay. Every pet's got their sound.
Yes, that's her. That is definitely her sound. What day was it? Maybe yesterday. She had that moment, and it was so funny because the kittens. No, it was today. It was this morning. The kittens were out, and we were in here, and I was sitting here, a little farther that way, and the kittens. One kitten was laying here beside of me, and another kitten was curled up underneath the little footstool that I've got over here. And the door was open, so she was free to go in and out. And so she walked in, and she looked at me and the kitten, and then she looked at the kitten underneath, and she just sat there, and she got this look on her face, and I know she was thinking, I did not sign up for this shit.
Nobody notified me that this was going to happen.
It's so funny.
You didn't exactly have that plan to get cats, right? Because I actually thought that
I did not plan this.
Them. I mean, they just kind of showed up at your door, right?
I did not plan this at all. And the litter box is as icky as I expected.
Oh, man.
And I was telling you earlier that Demon Bandit is the bad kitten, except for one area where Smokey, the good kitten, is the bad kitten, and that is with the litter box.
Mm.
Smokey is the chill kitten. She's good as long as you feed her. So as long as she's got food, as long as she's got water, and just leave her the hell alone when she's pooping. Don't bother her when she's pooping,
I
and
agree with that.
she's gonna make a mess in the litter box, and she's gonna scatter litter everywhere, and that's just her thing.
Yeah, the cats have to like dig the china after they're done. They have to like kind of scope out the situation. Like they'll poke their head out and they'll come back in. I don't know, I wasn't finished yet.
And they have figured out that the litter box is my Achilles heel. So like sometime after that happened this morning, I had finally gotten everything. We had everybody peed and pooped, and I'd cleaned everything up, and I'd swept, and everything was good, and I was chilling, and I could see, and then they were playing, and Libby was laying beside of me asleep, and I could see them plotting. And sure enough, here they go, and they were both in there, just scattering litter everywhere, and I'm like, the fuck. And they were just doing it to be little shits. That was it.
Well, we have a little roof on ours and like a swinging door, so they don't scatter it as much. But yeah, there's a nice pile of it in front. I mean, you can't. When I first met Allison, she had her litter box like in the room, like where all the closet, where all the clothes were. I'm like, this is just not gonna work. So yeah, now it's downstairs in the laundry room. But what they like to do is stink bomb us when we're watching TV, so that's not so good. It's like, oh, we're gonna bring a good one there. Yeah, hot cat talk here. Go over two. That's right, everybody.
Hot stuff, baby. Where else can you get this?
I know. I was trying to forget. Like, it's kind of like this is a new segment. How can Zach piss Sharona off this week? So yeah, we're trying. Trying to be flighty on your game plans.
Yeah, I mean, you did that.
Complete the discussion over the game.
At least tonight, you did it before the show started.
Yeah, that's
so I was a little prepared.
Yeah, well, I've got skills.
Skills, yeah.
But I feel like you can assist me because the last couple of years as a Missouri fan, we've had some nice highs and we've been playing for division championships and stuff. But this year is obviously not going to be one of those years. So what do you do as a fan, like when you know your season isn't going to be that good? You might make a bowl, but you might not. How do you keep it going, especially Tennessee?
Well, you're asking the wrong person. I have not ever sat and told you my history as a Tennessee Volunteer fan. I was not a Tennessee Volunteer fan growing up. We lived in Texas. It was the other.
That's right, the Cowboys. Oh yeah, burnt orange.
The other hook 'em baby. It was the other UT, and so yeah. So my sports allegiances were already soft before So I felt free to say somewhere around 2004 that Mike Hamilton, I forget when he became the AD. Anyway, Mike Hamilton was public enemy number one with me for a long time, and I was definitely of the opinion that it was time for the university to move on from Coach Fulmer, even though he had done a lot and very well respected, and the players love him, and blah 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 blah. But here we are 10 years later, and I'm still not convinced they've made the right fucking hire.
That's so tough. It's like a college coach and quarterback, but definitely NFL quarterback. So if you don't have that, you got nothing. So I know Tennessee fans have been in a struggle the struggle is real, people.
The struggle is definitely real.
Because you grabbed Derek Dooley after a strong 8-4 season at Louisiana Tech, and it was clear he wasn't the guy.
Well, you see, it's even
worse. But that was
worse.
after Lane. The Lane situation was just
the 1 year, Lane Kiffin situation. So that was the worst of it. And this is where Mike Hamilton really fucked it up, and that was he had a gentleman's agreement with Kevin Sumlin. Tennessee was going to hire Kevin Sumlin. And Mike Hamilton had one more interview, and instead of canceling it, he went to this other interview, and it was Derek Dooley, who apparently blew him away in the interview, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Is that like when the Titans were interviewing coaches after Fisher left, and they basically gave Mike Munchak the interview as like a courtesy, but because he was a former Oiler and Titan, and Bud was like, "All right, give him a shot," and it was although now compared to Ken Wisenhunt, Mike Munchak seems like a freaking Vince Lombardi.
Y'all want to fucking bitch about Mike Munchak? He was not a bad coach. Now you see what bad coaching is.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Ken Wisenhunt something like 3-29 or something. The funny thing, somebody brought up the fact the Titans are playing the Falcons this week. Mike, is it Dan Quinn, the coach of the Falcons, is 5-1.
Yeah, Dan Quinn.
Ken Wisenhunt's won 3 games, and he's been there more than a year. I mean, so after this weekend, the coach of the Falcons will have double the wins that Ken Wisenhunt has in almost 2 years. Yeah. So yeah, when you make bad coaching choices, now Kevin Sumlin, that was when he was at Houston, right?
Yes, he got the Texas A&M job the year after that, I think, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
they almost had Charlie
football beat Alabama.
They almost had Charlie Strong when they hired Butch Jones. Butch Jones was like their 4th choice.
Because he led, like, that was that one year where Cincinnati went like undefeated, and then Florida beat the crap out of him in the Sugar Bowl. And was he that guy? I'm guessing. I don't know.
No, we hired Butch Jones the year after he won like maybe 3 games at Cincinnati, 4 games at Cincinnati. No, I don't remember, but I do know one. No, maybe he had only lost like 3 games or something like that. But I do know that the one coach to beat him was Derek Dooley.
Oh, Derek. Derek's still with the Cowboys, your former NFL team. So there you go. Boom diggity on that. So yeah, but the Tennessee fans, how is the fan base? I mean, they did beat Georgia, which was a nice win.
Yes.
But now they get Alabama.
Yes.
They didn't have an easy schedule in the season.
The 3rd weekend in October, it's tradition.
Lately, it's been a tradition like none other, as in your blood alcohol content has to go through the roof.
Yeah, that's where having a soft allegiance is kind of neat.
I like the term soft allegiance just because I feel like I get softer and softer every year. Like I just kind of root for the Titans because I feel like I need to have a team, but it doesn't even faze me anymore when they lose. Like they got crushed by the Dolphins. I was like, yeah, whatever. Didn't really affect me.
You were talking about Dan Quinn. See, to me, that's the kind of, and that's a good one. Yes, Zach, very good. But let's talk about the Dan Campbell, a rookie head coach who had never been a head coach, who was a tight ends coach, beat Ken Wisenhunt.
Yeah, so he has like 1/3 the victories Ken Wisenhunt has with the Titans. Well, when the season started, the Dolphins were supposed to challenge the Patriots, especially with Tom Brady's suspension that we all knew was going to happen. And Ryan Tannehill, another between 15th and 20th best quarterback in the NFL. Lamar Miller, they don't want to give him the touches. A bunch of receivers you don't know, like a bunch of new receivers too, which is hard in a quarterback. And a defense that signed Ndamukong Suh, who apparently doesn't listen to the play call and seems to do whatever the hell he wants, but still makes like NFL starting quarterback money. And yeah, they were bad, but they had talent and obviously better talent than the Titans. I mean, Cameron Wake had like 4 sacks in the first half.
Well, the Titans' offensive line is just atrocious.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
And I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. It's not necessarily the talent on the field. I'll never forget, and I don't even remember now who the poor sod was, but I will never forget Ken Whisenhunt's first season as the Titans head coach. And they had so many injuries along the offensive line, and they were just pulling guys off the street. They had some poor scrub one-on-one with J.J. Watt.
Yeah, the game planning always seems to be a little bit down, but when you have injuries, especially on the offensive line, is just really tough. I mean, last year the Cowboys dominated, and then they actually got like a first-round talent that they just picked up this year, and they're not as good. It's just so hard to keep it going from year to year. But when you get your quarterback number 2 overall, obviously your talent isn't that good, especially on the offensive line. So, yeah, I mean, Mariota's getting the crap beaten out of him.
I don't know. I mean, a good quarterback can definitely help your offensive line.
But I didn't. It was usual. I watched it on Red Zone, but I got on the elliptical today, and the cable system I have has those little 15-minute versions of the game. And they showed Mariota doing those play-action passes where he throws it down the seam. Well, he did that twice and completed it. And then the fourth quarter he did it, and the Dolphins jumped it for a pick 6. It's like eventually you got to try. Maybe they've set the offensive up for him to succeed initially, but then teams adjust. And then what do you do? And I don't know what do you do is, especially, I mean, Mariota obviously hurt his knee and wasn't 100% and probably should have just sat.
He shouldn't have been in the game.
I mean, Mettenberger's, put him in. They were going to lose the game, so put him in. Give him some experience. That's fine. But they kept him in, and he did just enough for everybody to have a little bit of hope, and then he threw out pick 6, and it's just like, come on. It's a lot to put on the guy. Although, what was it? Draw Play Dave promised to draw a picture, and he did it of a dolphin surfing on Marcus Mariota. So I'll have to share that picture for you. So that's pretty good.
Cute.
Oh, cute. You're not easily impressed, are you?
Oh, I mean, I just feel badly for Marcus Mariota, and I said it early on. I see people saying it now. That he would go to the one team where they would ruin him, and I'm gonna cry. I don't even want to talk about it because I'll cry.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of hoping.
I did notice. I mean, like you, I was on Red Zone, and only kind of vaguely keeping up with the action, but I did notice on my Twitter feed that the Fire Whisenhunt crowd is getting larger. The bandwagon is almost full.
Well, it's just like, what took you so long? You watched this team last year, right? And for some reason, they always win that first game. They got a perfect setup in week 1 against that defense optional Tampa team with a rookie quarterback as well. And they looked good, but then they blew a couple games they should have won. And then, they've been getting blown out.
I wasn't a fan of the hire to begin with. I was doing a podcast for NGSC Sports, and I'll never forget. I had Jess Root on, who writes for the Arizona Cardinals SB Nation website, and we had a long conversation about it. I had gone back and pulled all the numbers, and I told him, I said, I don't know where this guy got his reputation as a quarterback guru, except that his greatest success came with Ben Roethlisberger and Kurt Warner. Yeah, I mean,
he has had a coaching career almost identical. Well, I'd say almost identical to Fisher, except he hasn't had a bunch of 8-8 seasons. The one year that the Cardinals made the Super Bowl, they had like a crazy game just to start their playoff run. But they made one run, and then they lose at the end on just a great pass and catch. But other than that, basically he was good with Kurt Warner, who was poor Kurt Warner. I mean, he gets bounced around every single place he went. They're like, yeah, you're done, and then he eventually wins the job.
He took every team he's been with, he's taken them to the Super Bowl.
Well, I think he still has the top 3 passing days in Super Bowl history in the 3 Super Bowls he played, and he lost 2 of them. So, and he could have lost the Titans one because it was pretty close, but thanks, Jeff, for not playing offense in the first half of the Super Bowl. But we'll go ignore that right now. When they show the Super Bowl with the Titans highlight film, the first half is like 2 minutes, and the second half is 28 minutes because it's just so boring. It's so terrible. That's okay. Jeff Fisher's doing just fine. So before we get to the over it or not, because I have some for you this week,
Okay.
let's do a little college talk. What about Steve Spurrier calling it
What
quits?
about him?
That was going about him.
It was odd, very strange. Ostensibly, he is stepping down because he wasn't connecting and they weren't recruiting, and he thought that it was the best thing for the university. I have not been online this week, so I'm unaware if anything has come out since all of that. And he's resigned, not retired, resigned. And they've named an interim head coach and blah, blah, blah. So I had Lisa Horn on my podcast last week, and she said she thought it was odd too, and said it would not surprise her, would not shock her if there weren't some things looming over the horizon.
You mean like trouble for the program?
Yeah.
That's possible. I mean, South Carolina has always been, I mean, I remember they just like never won a bowl game, but they always had great fan support. And then they got to a couple SEC championship games with Spurrier, and they always went to a bowl. And yeah, this year they just fell apart. I mean, last year they were supposed to be really good, and they were not. And they went like 6-6. And this year they're probably not even going to go to a bowl. So yeah, it's weird to just, especially to have like a legendary coach just say, screw it, after week 4 of a season. Like he was 90% out the door when the season started, and he was like, forget it. I mean, he quit on Washington, and he could have gotten a nice severance, and he just said, no, I'm leaving. I'm out. And then he got a nice little retirement job with South Carolina. He worked there for years and got to play golf all the time. And I think he's going to be probably big time on TV if he wants to, so why not? But yeah, the South Carolina fans got to be like, what do we do?
Well, I mean, you knew the day was going to come. I don't think that they're a friend of mine is a huge South Carolina fan, and all the fans that I know are like, well, okay, it was time.
Well, yeah, based on how the team does, it's pretty hard to time your like retirement. Like a guy like John Elway could do it after he won the Super Bowl, but usually a guy leaves after things kind of fall apart, which has happened with Mr. Spurrier. All right, let's see if we can get the blood going again. Okay, it's time for hashtag over it or hashtag nah. We kind of talked about this already. We got to do it again. Tennessee against Alabama. How you feeling?
Over it. I mean, I would love it if they actually did it this year, but that I don't think the team that lost double-digit leads to Florida and Arkansas will beat Alabama.
What do you think about that? Soy's visiting for a minute. Soy's like, I like be on podcasts as much as you don't. So no, I'm out. That's one thing they don't like. Okay, so can they pull off the gray on gray again, or are they gonna go back to white and ugly orange?
I have no idea.
Well, obviously, over it or not, Titans fans finally getting on our level and asking for Ken Wisenhunt's head. I think we've covered that pretty well.
Nah.
Conversations about Peyton being done.
Over it.
The Colts going for the weirdest fake punt ever.
I boogied out after the first half, and I did not see the second half, and so apparently I missed a doozy.
Yeah, me too. It's one of those. I didn't even watch like a minute of the game on Monday, and I'm glad I didn't. But the Sunday night game, yeah.
I didn't watch any of the Monday night game either.
I taped the second half, and then I never did watch it. And I'm like, all right. I was like, what was that? I mean, the fake punt was like a drunk person playing Madden and making calls. And you could tell later that it was like, oh, well, we put, it was like a backup guy who took the snap, and he didn't see the audible that we called. And it's like, you know what happens when you play a really good team and you're in a close game? You do something just dumb and ruin your chances of winning, and that's what the Colts did right there. And you know what? I'm kind of, annoyed by the Colts getting Peyton and then Andrew Luck and winning one title with that. And the way they're going, that might be all they get. So, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like their uniforms, but other than that, they're annoying. Yeah.
how'd Frank Gore do?
He did okay, although I'm always waiting for him to just. Well, he had like 11 points. It was, by the way, my entire fantasy team has sucked again this week, but we'll get there in a minute. What about over it or not putting NFC East teams on prime time every single week when they're secretly the worst division in football except for the AFC South?
Nah. I need a break every now and then. So
You like seeing Eli every Sunday or Monday and
no,
the Eagles?
It gives me a break. It gives me a chance to say, nah, I'm not going to do this game and do something else.
Well, yeah, after 7 hours on Sunday, I'm usually like, Sunday night, really? Do I have to? I was just like, oh, I'm going to watch the Patriots blow out the Colts, and they didn't really do it, but they still won. And the last one, the Seahawks are struggling.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there's a question there?
Yeah,
am I over that? Nah, not over it yet.
Well, okay then.
More struggle bus. I kind of like it. I'm digging it.
Yeah, it was like we were going to watch something else on TV, and then I had pressed pause on Red Zone, and I was trying to catch up. Like, well, let's see how things go in the Seattle game. I'm sure they'll score to put it away, and then they didn't, and then the Panthers came back to win. But luckily, Allison's a Seahawks fan to the level of if they win the Super Bowl, she's happy, and if they don't, she can move on quite easily. So maybe that's a lesson for us all.
Sounds like soft.
Soft, yeah. Soft as our cat's behinds. They're quite fluffy.
I have to say, having steady diet of good food, the kittens' coats are luxurious.
Yeah, we're getting to winter too, so they're growing the coats a little bit.
I brushed them today. They seem to like that.
Oh gosh, they're gonna get kitty days of beauty and get their nails done, and
No,
that'd be awesome.
no, I was just getting them ready, to go get their uterus yanked out. I don't know what they do.
Whatever it is, don't make no kitty babies, right?
No kitty babies.
Well, that'd be cute, but I think you're good. Yeah.
I do adore these two kittens. They are very cute.
Yeah, that's why we don't kill them, because they're so cute.
But that's enough.
So we can continue by just talking about the NFL in general. So a couple benefit teams that everybody was calling, over the top, thinking they were like Super Bowl contenders, came back to earth this week when both the Cardinals and the Falcons lost. Do you think those teams still have what it takes to be a playoff contender and possibly Super Bowl team?
I was more surprised by the Cardinals' loss than I was the Falcons' loss. I still think the Falcons are a good football team. I had said that, in my opinion, they were the weakest of the remaining undefeateds. So a lot of people thought it was the Panthers. I thought it was the Falcons. Well, the Panthers are. Cam Newton's really playing well right now. I'm concerned about the Cardinals. I've really invested heavily. I had been riding their defense. Having their defense was allowing me not to have to worry about streaming, and so that was kind of cool. But their defense sucked this past weekend, and their offense wasn't much better. And as a John Brown, I have John Brown and Andre Ellington, David Johnson stacks everywhere, and so
No Chris Johnson like me.
I do not own CJ. 0.5K.
Yeah. It was a weird game because the Cardinals just drove down the field all day, but then they couldn't score touchdowns. And it looked like they were going to blow him out because I started Chris Johnson like an idiot in a fantasy league. And I'm like, well, he's going to have a bunch of carries in the second half and have a big lead. And then they didn't have the lead. And somehow Vic got hurt. And this guy named Landry Jones, who wore a plaid shirt after the game, it was quite stylish, came in and just threw the crap out of it to Martavis
Landry
Bryant.
Jones was impressive. I mean, I was sitting there, his first couple of passes, I was like, dang, he's got an arm on him. And, I mean, Mike Vick, as long as Landry Jones stays healthy, Mike Vick ain't seeing the field no more.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much done, as no Steelers fans have been whining about Landry Jones for years, and they had that Bruce Gradkowski permanent backup guy who got hurt. And maybe sometimes with these young quarterbacks, you just got to throw them in a game, see what happens. But yeah, the Steelers' offense looks really, really scary if they have Antonio Brown and then Martavis Bryant is active again, and you have Le'Veon Bell. Even though they keep losing offensive linemen, it's like, we'll be okay.
Well, who's their offensive line coach? I mean, it's just
Mike Munchak. Hey, he's found the perfect place to be. He outkicked his coaching coverage for a few years there, and now he's back where he's just
whatever. He was a good coach. Titans fans were just absolutely fucking unreasonable about it, and some media as well.
Well, I mean,
okay,
he had about the same record as Jeff Fisher probably, but his whole you gotta wear a tie and some crap. Yeah, I don't know. He was fine. Obviously, the Titans are going to. I don't even know. Like when people are talking about who would they pick up as a coach, I'm just like, I don't even know who the candidates are right now. Offensive coordinator of the Bengals. I don't want to do. Hey, Lane Kiffin again. Oh, please no.
I would just point out that
Josh McDaniels. Ugh.
I would just point out that the two guys that I wanted are both doing really well right now.
Who'd you want?
I was on the Mike Zimmer bandwagon, and I also wanted them to take a look at Todd Bowles.
Yeah, I think
How about them Jets?
Everybody forgot about Mike Zimmer and the Vikings when they got pounded by the 49ers to start the year. But they're actually looking good. But man, Adrian Peterson just killing me in fantasy. So
I tried to tell y'all.
Well, really, when it comes to running backs, everybody kind of sucks. There's really not much there. It's bad.
Yeah, but you don't. Relatively speaking, that in a top 5 pick, you could have had Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell,
Just like the last 3 weeks. Le'Veon Bell's been good. Le'Veon Bell was like a number 1 pick. I took him.
That's because of Mike Vick,
times.
And he's going to rebound.
I think Adrian Peterson will be fine. It's just at halftime of the game against the Chiefs, he had 17 carries for 16 yards and 1 catch for -3 yards. So he actually ended up with about 60 yards, but it was just like, man, what is going on? It was one of those kick to the nuts kind of fancy days. Last week I had the highest scoring team in the league kick my butt. This week I had the guy who had Martavis Bryant all year, and I started him. And of course, I'm half dead Arian Foster, but he caught a touchdown pass. So, yeah, he pretty much destroyed me. I was devoured and destroyed, and I think Adrian Peterson will be fine. And I have Gurley coming back, but it's probably a little bit late.
Yeah, I miss Gurley being on his bye week. I really, really needed him. I had a guy who wanted to trade me. He wanted to take Le'Veon Bell off my hands and think he could dump Jeremy Hill on me, and I had to reject that. I didn't even.
Wait, was that a 1-for-1 trade?
No.
You're getting some beer or firstborn or something.
He offered me a couple of other nothing players.
One of those 3 nickels for a quarter kind of deals.
It probably wasn't that bad, but I mean, I can stomach. It's just vomit-inducing how bad he is.
Yeah, it's another one of those guys. I mean, I never even thought for a second about drafting Giovanni Bernard anywhere. I never even thought about drafting Devonta Freeman. And Those guys have actually been really good, and running backs have been terrible. I mean, think about all the love for C.J. Anderson, and he's just been so bad this year. The Broncos have just been bad.
Their offense has not been as good as people would like it to be. They're fucking undefeated.
Yeah, it seemed like they were trying to lose to the Browns, but they just couldn't do it. Like Peyton threw that really bad interception in overtime, and the Browns had the ball like at the 30-yard line, and then they just got sacked like 3 times, and they're out of field goal range. It's like, oh, you're kidding me. But Peyton, like every time you think he's dead, he throws one of those dead ducks right to his receiver downfield and makes the play. And the fact that he's playing,
his numbers would have been better. His numbers would have been better this past weekend. Demaryius Thomas dropped a ball that hit him right in the freaking hands, and so did was it Emmanuel? There was another receiver who dropped, just dropped it.
Well, the problem is the defenders haven't been dropping anything that Peyton's throwing. That's been a problem. Hater. Hey, Peyton's great. He's just not great this year.
Well, I think that there's,
the defense, though. Their defense is great, so their offense doesn't have to do that much. Peyton's okay. Is he going to be your are they just going to make him like Galactic Emperor of University of Tennessee when he retires?
Sure. They should.
Whatever it takes.
They totally should.
The university, it's a public university, but now it's called the University of Tennessee at Peyton Manning. Does that work for you?
Something like that.
I mean, it's going to be fun, but it's not over yet. Now, what's the deal? I played against Aaron Rodgers when he had that crazy Monday night game when he scored like 60 points. And the last 3 weeks, he's been very mediocre. Why does that happen? And I know you got to be upset because he's your boo.
I don't. I snagged Aaron Rodgers in a lot of mock drafts that I did. I don't. I might have him in 1 or 2 best ball leagues, which I have not checked yet. I need to do that. I thought I would probably try to do that. Maybe sometime this week. I mean, James Jones came in and filled in admirably for Jordy Nelson, but Devontae Adams is still not healthy. And now Ty Montgomery's injured, and they're still trying to figure out the tight end position. And Randall Cobb is Randall Cobb, but it's
their bye week's definitely coming at a good time, and they're missing Jordy Nelson. I mean, it's tough.
They're missing Jordy Nelson, and Eddie Lacy has. I mean, look, James Starks had a nice game.
Yeah, he was the Shankardrick, whatever, west of this week's waiver wire. He was tanking #1 in our league in waivers. I don't even know. I bet there's some Scott Fishbowl divisions where he's available this week.
Yeah.
If anybody's have any money left.
I'm not.
There's not much available there.
Have at it. You know what? I mean, Eddie Lacy is gonna still be the guy. You're dreaming if you think James Starks is gonna.
Yeah, the thing, it's like they led the entire game, yet James Starks still only got like 11 touches, and they have a bye week, and it sounds like Eddie Lacy has an injured ankle, so they've been talking him up, so he's getting the ball. So it's like I was kind of glad. It was one of those weeks where I was kind of glad that he got taken. The funny thing is I actually picked up the Texans D because they're playing the Titans next week. I'm like, free money, baby. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
By the way, I won Chandaric West in our Scotty Fishbowl League.
Yeah, that worked out fun, didn't it?
I knew going into it, but I was like, well, shoot, who else is going to be out there that I am going to want to spend money on?
You have to decide who to spend on. I actually won my second game of the week. I've actually had pretty good points in the Scott Fishbowl, and I actually got good guys off waivers. Got Deion Lewis, who did kind of suck this week, but that's okay. I mean, I had Keenan Allen, who caught like 25 passes. That Chargers game was just nuts. Like I watched the highlights from it. It's like they just kept driving down the field and they end up getting at the 5-yard line and not scoring. I mean, how do you get 20 points when they threw for 500 yards? That was just insane.
It is crazy.
They're basically 1 or 2 plays away from pulling that off. But he just like Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's annoying and he wears bolo ties and all, and a little bit conservative. But man, you're gonna miss him when he's gone, man. Just those looks he gives, you know. It's like the Jay Cutler, I don't care looks, but the angry version of those looks. He just pissed all the time.
It's almost it's like Manning face.
Manning, yeah. The Eli. Well, that was the funny and sad thing. Monday night, I was losing by 50 again. And I'm like, do I start Eli Manning? Do I start Sam Bradford? Eli Manning scored like 10 and Sam Bradford scored 11. It didn't matter. I was going to get crushed no matter what. I'm so glad I didn't watch that game. I think the Giants just like can't handle having 7 straight primetime games, so maybe they need to, move them away.
I was not believing in the Giants anyway, and so when they laid, I was not surprised when they laid that egg.
Is that cat noise?
That was a chicken squawking.
Well, I mean, if you do say so. So have you been?
You're obviously not up on your chicken squawks.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, clearly, I get them way after they're squawking. I get them when they taste good.
Now what now?
Have you been trying to keep track with DJN as she's been suffering every day, hoping that her Desi comes back this week?
I have not been online, so no, I've missed Jen. Is Jen is Jen crying in her beer waiting on Dez?
Probably.
Well, that's understandable.
She claims that even though she was at a bachelorette party and I was at an SEC football game, that somehow I drank more than her, which is hard to believe. But we didn't have the portable BAC to officially claim a victory. I feel like we're both winners, but she was like, Dez is going to make it. It's a very positive view, not a soft fan, that's for sure. And Dez, she was like, oh, today's the day. Today's going to practice. Today's going to show. And then they're like, yeah, he's going to be running on the side. He's not actually going to practice today, so I don't think he's playing. And
I saw Kiko Alonso's back. That was exciting news.
Right. Didn't he tear something? Or partially tears ACL? Or
knees.
loses ACL? Or
poor knees.
I don't know, something.
Poor knees. So what did I've been meaning to ask? What did Johnny Manziel do?
Oh, boy. You could do a whole show on this. Well, he got pulled over. He was arguing with his girlfriend. And it sounded like they were just yelling at each other. And I think he had a couple beers, which is not good considering he was in rehab. That's the part that's more worrisome. I don't think there was a domestic violence angle. But because it's Johnny Manziel, anything he does gets magnified. And people wanted them to cut him. Why not? But, yeah, that was about it. That's about all I heard.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah, there really wasn't. Considering all the stuff he's done, it's like, whatever.
Well, I mean, I guess that's it, he goes to rehab and has, but I mean, as long as he didn't lay hands on her and it wasn't that kind of situation.
It's always hard to tell what really is going on in those kind of situations. I didn't even know he had a girlfriend, but it's not like I pay attention. Not like I stalk Jenny Manziel like I try to stalk all of your shows. Impossible, by the way. Cannot be done.
I wouldn't know either.
Stay on her level, y'all.
I would not know.
So how about the Duke Nukem Hopkins, huh? Did you get him in any leagues?
I did not. It just didn't turn out. I would have. I might have him in one best ball league, but I'm not sure. I knew he was going to be great. I bought heavily, and he was actually, I'm pretty sure, on my dynasty team last year. So I was kind of sad.
Yeah, the way the running backs have fallen apart, the kind of under the helmet theory with drafting just a ton of wide receivers in a dynasty startup seems to be the way to go. Those guys hold their value, they stick around longer, and I mean, it doesn't matter who's throwing on the ball either. So is this devil kitty or non-devil kitty?
This is the other kitten. Hi, sweetheart.
You're about to have a procedure, but it's okay. That'll drug you up good.
You're going to get good drugs.
It'll be like most days, actually, for you. You just sleep all day. Glorious.
Say hi to Zach. Oh, okay.
So when it comes to having a bad fantasy season, do you prefer to make like dramatic moves to try to save your season? Do you make those
Yes.
incremental moves? Yes.
Well, it just depends. It depends on what's going on. Like 3 weeks ago, after week 3, and I wasn't scoring any points, I was like, I've got to, if I'm going to salvage my season, I've got to do something. And so I made some drastic moves.
Like what? What'd you do? Make trades?
I made a couple of trades. Some guys, I'm in 2 really kind of shallow leagues, and so you can just work the waiver wire, which is what I did, and moved on from Andre Johnson. I had him in like 2 leagues. I moved on from him. Who did I pick up? I'll have to think. I did pick up Gary Barnage, but I
Oh
think
yeah, Hall of
he's
Fame
in.
Barnage.
Yeah, I saw an injury report on him. Hopefully he's okay. I picked him up in 2 or 3 leagues, and then in another league, I was able to pick up Jordan Cameron and play him over Delaney Walker, which
Oh, sigh.
Delaney only ended up with
I
like
love
maybe
you, Delaney.
well,
Hey, you know you
all's,
got to move on. No,
all's fair in
it's
fantasy football,
business.
baby. So let's see, what else did I do? I was able to pick up Dion Lewis off waivers. That was a good move for me. Now, Scotty Fishbowl, like I said, I won Chandoric West, and I picked up Keith Mumphrey and Marcus Wilson. That was a great pickup for me. And somebody else. I don't remember.
It's all about those late round draft picks because I'm pretty sure like my 7th and 8th round picks were Nelson Aguilar and Roddy White.
Chris Hogan.
Oh, Chris Hogan! Wow, that's reaching deep. But you can get like there are always receivers at the end. Marvin Jones has started last week. That was nice. When you just have nothing, you got nothing to lose, so throw him in there.
I have him in my Dynasty League. I played him.
Well, I think I picked him up in my local keeper league, and that was the week he had like 1 catch for 8 yards, and I was like, "You're out." But now I have Travis Benjamin and Willie Snead, who of course was quite mediocre last Thursday. But I think he's going to be okay this week. But I think I'm going Allen Robinson and Benjamin.
I saw.
Just too good.
Yeah, I saw Willie Snead is popular out on the waiver wires.
Well, he's kind of become the #1 receiver, but if you saw last Thursday's game, it was all running back and tight end pros. Like Ben Watson, it was so funny because somebody asked me before the game, people asked me for fantasy advice on Twitter. Do you not see my team's records? But they were like, Jacob Tamme or Ben Watson. I was like, well, Jacob Tamme, of course. And Ben Watson had like 120 yards and a touchdown. And Jacob Tamme had like 3 catches. So what you need to do is you ask me your fantasy advice and then do the opposite, and I think you're set. So that's the rule. I should tell everybody who I'm starting before the week, and then you can adjust your lineups accordingly. I think that's the Zach Law fantasy voodoo doll is in effect this year. Like that. Feeling it. Not feeling it. The double thumbs up. Maybe the double middle fingers. Feeling something. So now we're 7 weeks into the season. Should I still continue to ignore DFS, or because everybody's talking about it?
I have still not tried DFS.
I'm sure you've talked to people about it, right?
Oh, sure, yeah. I
It's
mean,
very,
I
it's in the
know that
news.
it's popular, and I know that Nevada and other states are going after it because they want their piece of the pie.
Yeah, I could see that.
So,
So let's make this Saturday. Whatever, if you want to go to the Vandy game or the hockey game, we got to do a game or something. But
you've already
possibly the drinking beforehand is important.
you
That's the
you,
key.
you teased this whole thing. We'll go to the game without even telling me that you already were going to go with your dad and some other dude.
Well, that's true. But they have each other, so I think we can
So
still
I
do
made
this.
all these plans, and now look. I don't know. We'll have to talk about it.
Yeah, we
We'll
will.
see.
That's what we're here for, Ed. Talk
I've
about
got
it.
to. I've got to
Yell at
see.
me.
I've got to see my buddy David. That's
Sure. You go to Hattie B's, get some hot chicken. Come on, that's good stuff.
well. See, I'm having brunch with my girlfriend Cindy, and we had tentatively planned to meet at 10 to do brunch
That's Saturday or Sunday.
Saturday.
Oh, okay. So you have a couple of mimosas in you at that point. That's good.
Well, maybe I don't know. I mean, I'm like rethinking this whole thing.
That's the power I have to make people rethink things. That's good. I'm glad I'm here for that.
We'll see. We'll figure something out.
So what's happening in Sports by Sharona Land?
Sharona's on vacation.
You're on vacation,
Hmm.
staycation with the kiddies.
Well, I have gone and come back, and I'm going again, and then I'll come back, and so that's the thing.
That's the thing.
It's a good time to get the kitties neutered.
Yeah, probably a good move right there.
So what can I? Oh, you don't know because they come to you neutered. You have no idea what this involves. Okay, I gotta
Yeah, as
figure.
far as I know, they were born neutered because that was part of the deal. I mean, they were at a shelter. And Allison found them online. It was almost like online dating. Others, Soy, he's on there, and he likes to be on the blanket over there. He doesn't like to be on the show. He's like, I'll be near you, and I might jump on you when you least expect it. But other than that, nah, not so much. So yeah, they're already taken care of. They're already pre-snipped. You got the boys. There will be no more of the Soy and Scatman line. This is the end. It's been a glorious run. It's just so like for you to have like orange cats coming to your door. It's perfect. Go
I
big
know,
orange.
right?
You got
One's
Texas orange. You got UT orange.
one's orange. The Smoky's the orange and white one, but Bandit is like beige and white.
Hmm. But the same mama.
Same mama. Same mama. There are two black kittens too. I haven't seen them lately. There must have been four.
Oh, so you could have more.
Huh?
You could have more. I need to get another litter box.
I before these came in and didn't go out again, I'm pretty sure they were recruiting the other two kittens to
Come on
come.
by. It's good to get free
Yeah,
food.
because I was putting food outside for them, and I
Yeah,
was
they
like,
have them.
no, we can't have this.
No sharing. I hit the jackpot. That's
I
glorious.
mean, there are limits to my patience, believe it or not.
Well, every time I talk, I get that. Yeah. So tell everybody where to find you. You got yeah, you're still tweeting probably a little bit.
I have not tweeted this week.
What? I'm gonna catch up. No, I'm not gonna catch up. Never.
Zach said I would be at 150,000 tweets by last week, and wrong.
That's my prediction skills for you. I want to
I
get
should still I should still be at 147K.
You did. You automatically tweet for Untapped. Yeah, 147,606. Maybe get the 150 just in time for the exciting Vandy game. It's like Vandy, Missouri. You should be excited as a Tennessee fan because you get to play both those teams this year.
Woo!
You have an offense. We do not. That's a difference. So there you go. You got your engineer quarterback. You got your gray jersey.
Rocket science.
You got your brick by brick. And you got
your third down for
Scat
twat.
Man.
Hi, Scat Man.
Scat Man's like, no, I did not come in here to be on a show. I came in here to sniff things. Well, go to Sports by Sharona, on Twitter and catch up on her not tweeting. Make sure to do that.
Do that. Be there or be.
And Zach _Law for all. Check who I'm starting in fantasy so you can run away screaming. And there will be some kind of recap from this weekend. There will be contact. I will keep I have a charger for my phone now, so I'm ready. I'm prepared. She's like, you know what? I don't believe in you. You've already let me down too many times.
What evs?
I'm like a Tennessee football coach. You just have been burned too many times.
What evs?
So sad. Well, good night. Thanks for being on, Sharona, and thanks for everybody for listening. And good night. And kiss my grits. My grits are kissable. Wait, that's not bad.